Hello friends and welcome. I'm Sarah Liz and I'm back with another emergency card video. We're doing a rewind today. Normally on the third Friday there's a new free kit coming out, but it's been postponed till next Friday. So we're going to rewind back to two of my favorite holiday kits from last year. The first kit we're using is the Sweet and Religious Holiday Kit. This one came out last fall and there's a bunch of free pages that I will link in the description box below. Starting with this one, Happy Holidays with Love. Holidays are hard, thinking of you this holiday season. Merry Christmas and season's greetings. Merry Christmas to all and to all a good night. Merry everything. May your boundaries survive this holiday season. Joy and peace this holiday season. Tidings of comfort and joy. And those 8 sentiments will repeat down here at the bottom. The printed circle is a little bigger than 1 3/4 of an inch. I use it to make sure that my punch or my die is centered. If you want to use a different size circle or a different shape altogether, page 2, I've removed that circle. Then also for free, right here on YouTube, we have our rectangular sentiments, same sentiments, slightly different format, and then we get into religious holiday. I've separated these onto a different page, so if you only want religious sentiments, you can print just this, or if you don't want religious sentiments, you don't have to print them. We have Noel, O Holy Night, the stars are brightly shining, a weary world rejoices. Silent night, holy night, hark the herald, angels sing, joy to the world, let heaven and nature sing, and then those repeat. And we have the same sets of pages. So the printed circle, no printed circle, our rectangular sentiments, and then we have strip sentiments. The strip sentiments print at 1/4 inch, and there are tick marks on the side to help you cut them out nice and neatly. They come in 4 different fonts. So we have 2 sort of whimsical fonts here, and then we have a scripty font and a classic serif font. Then below, we have our religious holiday sentiments in those same 4 fonts. Finally, there is a card sketch. All of those pages, so that's 13 pages, are available for free here in YouTube. All I ask is that you subscribe to my channel. So look beneath the video where it says more or show more, and when you click on that, it will unpack that description box. There, you'll find all the supplies from today's cards, but you'll also find the emergency card kit playlist that give you all of the kits I've ever released and a direct download for these first 13 pages. There's also a link over into Patreon if you want bonus pages. I have a free Patreon membership, so I've also linked a tutorial for you explaining my Patreon and how to join for free. Because this was one of the first kits that came out on Patreon, the only bonus page is this set of digital backgrounds. They're a little smaller than A2, but they fit perfectly on the card sketch. Then, starting at the $5 tier, which also has a searchable sketch database where you can search for any kit by sketch or by theme, they also got additional backgrounds in that same smaller size. I love that you can get 3 per page. And then they got additional strip sentiments. These are bigger. I think these are 3/8 of an inch. We have additional fonts. This one I think is very holiday. And then I love this sort of scripty font that's bold and still really easy to read. Then we have our religious holiday sentiments in strip sentiment form in those same 2 bigger fonts. Starting at the $12 Sassy tier level, they get a sketch database just like the $5 tier, but it has direct downloads of all of the kits, where the $5 tier, it just links you back to the video so you can get the kits that way. And then they get all of the circle and rectangle sentiments as resizable sentiments. So you can delete sentiments you don't want or duplicate the ones you want the most, so you're not printing things you don't need. And then they get additional backgrounds in a larger size. So we have a landscape and then a portrait version of these fun packages or presents for a holiday. And then I love this dreamy watercolor background. I'll zoom out a little bit more so we can see that better. That same page is also available with the trees flipped on the other side. And then we get this black background in that full A2 size. It's a little bit bigger, so you don't have to worry about getting the perfect cut and accidentally cutting part of it off. We have this one flipped as well. Finally, the $25 Sassy Champion tier gets the sketch database with the direct downloads. You can search by sketch or by kit theme. They get all the sentiments as resizable sentiments, but they also get all of the images as resizable image files. These are digital stamps with transparent backgrounds. They also get a separate database where they can search sentiments by theme, by kit number, by whether or not it has digital paper or images in it. It has direct downloads to everything. It makes card making really quick and easy. But of course, we're using 2 kits today. So let's go ahead and take a look at the other kit. It's the Sassy Holiday Kit, but this is also like the bulk card holiday making kit, even if you don't make Sassy cards. So our circle sentiments, we have Dasher, Dancer, Prancer, Vixen, Whiskey, Vodka, Tequila, Blitzen. Deck yourself before you wreck yourself, which is my 10-year-old's favorite. Forget the gifts. I'm giving everyone my opinion this Christmas. Get excited. May your holiday breakdown be filled with joy. 3 wise men, be serious. No, I did not make your gift this year. I didn't get you a gift at all. Bring on the festivities. During this most festive time of year, I hate you the least. From our merry mayhem to yours. And I think that one is my favorite because Christmas is nuts. So we have circles, and then we have them with no circles. Then we have all of our rectangle sentiments. We have life is short, eat the cookies. So that one is an additional one for the rectangles. And then we have here our sketch. There's also a stretch a sketch usually to go with the sketches if you want to turn it into a fun fold of some kind. Those 5 pages are available once again for free in the description box below. And all I ask is that you subscribe to my channel. There will be right below that a link to the Patreon post you need to download additional free pages over on Patreon. There you will find strip sentiments for all those sassy sentiments. They are 1/4-inch strips, and we have the same fonts here that we had in the last kit. So 2 whimsical fonts, a scripty font, and then a classic serif font. But then also, this is in that free kit on Patreon. There are 1/2-inch Merry Christmas bulk strip sentiments. These are nice and large if you're sending cards to people who don't have the best eyesight. They're really easy to cut out, right? And then we have those white text on black in that free kit. And then we get circle sentiments. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays all season long. Merry winter wishes. May your days be merry and bright. Just really great sort of all-purpose holiday sentiments. Here we have black text on white with the printed circle. Then we have them same sentiments, no printed circle. And then we get them with a blue background. It's a really light blue. It's not going to take a ton of ink. That prints even a little bit larger than the printed black circle. I wanted to make sure you had plenty of room there. And these are really great to go with the rest of the kit. You'll see this blue, and then there's a light pink with the same bulk sentiments. These are not sassy, right? So lots of really great options here in that free kit. Then we have white text on black. And finally, we get 2 rather sassy retro ladies and a little bit of holiday paper. All of that is going to be in the free Patreon download. Don't forget there's a tutorial there if you need it on how to join for free. Then for bonus content for the paid tiers, we start at that $5 tier, and they get the searchable sketch database. And then they get these 4 very sassy ladies. They look like every mom during the holidays. I love them so much. I do want to say this has like a clock and the word friends next to it. When this came out as one of the first Patreon kits, the friends tier, that $2 tier, would only get pages that were available for like a week. And I decided very quickly I didn't like that. If you're going to pay me money, I want you to have access to things long term. So they don't have dedicated pages in these 2 kits, but anything from January on, they do. So then also at the $5 tier, we get a lot of our sentiments with our sassy sentiments and the colored background. So we have them in light blue. We have that white text on black. And then here's where those dedicated $5 pages started that weren't ever available at that $2 tier. We have the black text on the pink background, and then we also have white text on black for the rectangle sentiments. There are also our strip sentiments with white text on black. These are really, really great for foiling because it doesn't take a lot of foil. And if you're kind of new to toner foiling, laminator foiling, these are a really great place to start. And then at that $12 tier, the sketch database direct downloads resizable sentiments with transparent backgrounds. They're digital stamps. We also get more sassy ladies. If you're gonna have sassy holiday, I feel like we needed someone to voice them. So there are 2 pages. Like if you look at this one right here in the middle, she's sort of tilted to the right, but then on the next page, she's sort of tilted to the left. So you get all of them in both directions. And then they also get this digital paper. We had this in the freebie kit, but now you get the landscape version as well and some additional pages too. The final tier, that $25 tier, gets everything that they get, but then they also get all of those images as resizable images, as digital stamps, and that additional sentiment database. All right, let's make some cards. So this is Cocoa Wonderland from Spellbinders, and it has this huge like Santa mug. But what I love most are all these small things you can put in the mug that are really, really great for quick cards, like one small die cut to put on a card. I think sometimes we overlook that. I requested this set and it had nothing to do with the mug. Spellbinders sent this to me, but I really wanted like that really whimsical tree and some of the other pieces. The same will be true of the other die set that we use, but I kind of wanted to point that out to you. At the same time, if I'm going to use pieces from a large set like this, I do want to show you how the whole thing goes together. So I started by taking my two lightest gray markers and just flicking on some extra color to the mustache. I'm just thinking there's got to be lots of fun ways to use that mustache that aren't Santa related. I think it would be really funny. But the mug comes together surprisingly quickly. There are dies for everything. There's that little black die to put behind the eyes. He has a mouth that's got that little black piece that you can see sort of to the right, sort of top-ish, middle-ish right. That's going to go behind his mouth. So I'm not cutting scraps of paper and hoping they fit. Then there's debossed details to show you where everything goes. There's details for the cheeks and for the eyebrows. There's zero guesswork. You could use just the mug, and that whipped cream is my favorite style. If you saw my club kits video, my friends, I think that was last Friday. I'm recording the voiceovers on the same day, so we'll see. But I took a die set that had a different style of whipped cream and made it look like this one, because I just think this one is prettier. It's fluffy, it's a little bit elegant, it sort of looks like soft serve ice cream, which is one of my favorite things. So I love that we already have that here, and I will for sure steal that whipped cream for other things in the future. In the meantime, I'm just laying down the pieces on this mug. I love that the Spellbinders website now has, especially for these larger die sets, an assembly guide. It tells you what each die is for, where it goes, and how to put things together. You could do just this mug with some of the free emergency sentiments that are hot chocolate themed that just came out at the beginning of July. I will try to remember to link back to some of those videos below. So if you want access to that free kit, you absolutely can get it. The other thing that I'm playing with in this card in particular is that new Treasured Cardstock in red. If you've been around, they've had silver, gold, and rose gold for their Treasured Cardstock collection for a while, and you get 15 sheets, 3 each of 5 different sheens of like silver. So there's like a glitter and a matte and a pearl and a something. It changes a little bit by color, and they just came out with 4 new colors. So that band at the top of our Santa, the red that's going to go on our ornament, the bow on our present, and then these baubles on the tree are this like metallic matte. It's so cool, you guys. The shine is just amazing, but this video was long, so I'm not going to show you the whole card pack. I would go and check it out. They now have red, teal, white, and black. For this present, this particular die set has a small present with this quirky bow. I love that the ribbon is not even on both sides. It looks like I wrapped it, especially because I put the lid on a little bit crooked. When we get to the second die set we're using, and it's just 2 die sets this video, it's the Ule Tide Ride, and it has a larger version of that present with the same kind of bow, and I'm absolutely obsessed with it. We have 2 trees here, right? So we have the bigger tree and the smaller tree, and then there's one die I didn't cut. It's a tree that looks like a very skinny triangle, and I was like, I don't know. I had to look up what that piece was, and so I didn't put it on my card. But when you look at the sample cards, it's really cute in there. You'll have to let me know what you think. I have, again, some of that Treasured Cardstock in silver for the top of this ornament because I know it's going to be sitting a little bit out in no man's land. I have a lot of little pieces to deal with, and I'm trying to figure out the layout, and they just kept moving as I was adding more things, so I brought in my sticky mat. This is super low tack because I've used it for a long time. It's like an off-brand silhouette clear sticky mat that I got on Amazon, and I just cut it into little pieces. And it's holding my two biggest pieces in place, and so it's a snugger pocket that I'm working with as I try to figure out where I want to put everything. I've set that aside because I'm pretty happy with it, and now I'm going to grab this BetterPress background plate. It's called Snowfall Shimmer, and when I got it out, you guys, I made a ton of backgrounds. I'm going to show you two. I used the Essential Arches to cut this white piece, and I'm just going all over my plate with some silver pigment ink. I'm using my Brilliance pad because it has the firmest pad, and I don't want the ink sinking down all the way in there, and then I get kind of a muddied impression. But this turned out beautifully. I did a bunch of them in BetterPress, cleaned off all the ink, and now I'm gonna hot foil it. And you guys, I think I like this even better in hot foil. I'm using the silver holographic facets, and I'm gonna wrap this and tape it onto my A2 panel. This plate is just barely bigger than A2, and the first time I foiled it, I had a hard time making sure that the whole panel foiled. So the tape is my friend here because it makes sure that when I'm lining it up over the plate, it's right where I want it. But look at that sparkle and shine. It's so good. We're gonna use the sketch from Kit 74. It came out at the beginning of July, and we're gonna create a fun fold. We didn't get to it when this kit first came out, so I wanna do it now. I have a 1 3/4 inch strip of just some pattern paper that's been in my stash that I am gluing onto a 2-inch strip. They're both 5.5 inches long, and that's gonna go in the middle. I'm skipping the circle since that we have a very large die cut, and I'm gonna score my card base at 2 1/8 and 4 1/4, and then I'll fold that in half like a normal card base, but I'm gonna fold it in half again. They're both mountain fold, so it's going in towards the middle. We're making an easel card out of this. You can really make that second fold in a lot of places, but I find that centered is pretty easy because then my pieces are all the same. I'm just gonna take this piece, it's an A2 panel, and cut it in half at 2 1/8. Then I will glue them onto my card base. I'm gonna be really careful here. I don't want any glue to go onto the score line. I don't want anything that will keep it from folding nicely. And so I'm gonna fold it at that score line and just sort of push it till it butts right up against the score line. And then I'm gonna make sure that my pattern lines up. I was doing it earlier and lining it up, and then I forgot which one went where. It's fine, just double check. And then I will glue the next one on there. And I'm butting it up, but there's just the tiniest little sliver gapping in between. You aren't gonna notice when the card is done because we're putting our strip of pattern paper over the top of it. Here, when I glue this one down, I only want glue on the bottom half, okay? It's gonna go glued down to the outermost section. So actually the opening of my card is on my left right now and the fold is on the right. Essentially, you're gluing it to the bottom of the card, okay? And then that way you can see how this panel pops up when we fold it in the middle. We're gonna glue our mug so that it's only on the bottom, and then we're gonna put circle sentiments at the top right, so we're not overlapping the mug too much. So I'm using my fingers to kind of keep track of how high up that glue can go. I do have one ornament that's hanging over the side that's just 65-pound cardstock. So I put a little foam there to make sure that he's got some support. And then I will glue this onto my card up at the top of that whipped cream. On the top of that tree, there is no glue. It is not getting glued down. Then I'm gonna glue 2 layers of circles together. So I have a 2-inch circle, which is our standard map, but I also have a red one that is 1 7/8 of an inch. I've been using these a lot lately. I have a couple sets that can do those odd sizes, the additional circles from Waffle Flower or the Trinity Stamp Circle Set B. I'll link them below. I'm grabbing a sentiment from the Sweet Holiday Kit. I like that printed circle. It helps me make sure that I get it straight. I'll punch it out with my 1 3/4 inch punch and add that onto my card. But I do want a sassy inside. So I'm grabbing the Sassy Holidays strip sentiments. I like the classic serif font. It's gonna go nicely with the fonts we already have. I just cut off the edges so I have the tick marks all the way at the very edges of both sides so I can line them up on the blade of my trimmer, get my 1/4 inch strip nice and even, and then I'll trim off the sides until they match. I use the finger guard to help me. I did add one more layer of white cardstock behind my sentiment, and then I'll put it on a 3/8 inch strip of red cardstock. I want to put a stopper on the inside of the card so that when I go to lift that easel, it has something to rest on and it doesn't just automatically close all by itself. I find this works best when it has just a little bit of lift. So I did put some 1mm thin foam from scrapbook.com on there. And then I'm going to sort of lift it up to where I want it and do my best to get it straight. I'm not pressing down all the way until I'm like, yes, it's straight. It's where I want it. And then our card is done. Happy holidays with love. We have our little Santa mug. It seems really sweet. And then on the inside, it says from our Merry Mayhem to yours. And I think it's so cute and so funny. So here is die set number 2, card number 2. It's Yule Tide Ride. And there are tons of dies in here that can be used independently. Again, I love a set where, yes, they all come together to make one particular something that they've designed for you. But then you can also take them apart. You could use this with stamped images or little die cut critters or die cut images, right? Or you can do what we're doing here and have a crazy car loaded up with way too much stuff, looking kind of wonky. I just think of my grandma all the time because there's so many like weird, wonky, tacky things. The best kind of tacky, obviously. My grandma in her kitchen forever had a pot holder that had been embroidered, and it said, "Who invited all these tacky people?" Knowing full well that the embroidered pot holder was like the tackiest thing in the kitchen. That's my family. In case you were unclear of what channel you were watching, we're a weird bunch. I come by it honestly. I'm putting this little car together. It's so cute. I love the car by itself. It has nothing to do with the holidays. There are so many great ways to use this. I can imagine putting like a suitcase die on top for somebody going off to college or going off on a trip. Then here is that gift that's a little bit bigger than the last set, but it has the same wonky bow. Very much a Sarah Liz kind of present wrapping job here. I thought that this one also had a bow that fit it. This is a taller gift, but actually, even though the lid fits, the bow is not tall enough. I don't care. I'm going to put the bow on it anyway, and we'll just hide the fact that it's a little short. Or again, this is a Sarah present. And then we're going to move on to our stocking. So the stocking is also, it looks like it's been through the laundry a bunch of times, like a nice Christmas stocking that got washed by some hapless husband who was like, "You just told me to clean up," right? And then we have these really wonky strings of lights. So I've cut them in 4 colors. This is one of my favorite Christmas color palettes. I would love to know in the comments what your favorite Christmas color palettes are. I typically release at least 3 holiday kits each year. And then if you add in like special classes or summits or things that I teach, there's bonus kits sometimes. And so I'm always looking for new color combinations to share with everybody or to put in kits for digital paper. And I might pick yours because I have a very narrow like window of what my favorite colors are. If you look at my channel, you can probably pick them out. So we have our big wonky strings of lights, and then there's these little ones that go on the tree. And I'm just trying to evenly space them. I've cut it out of black, which is really kind of stark here, but you could do it out of green, like the lights that we have for our tree are on a green strand, so it sort of blends in a little bit better, or you could do it in silver or in gold, and it might look a little more elegant. The star comes with it, and I love that. We have this tiny little envelope that has a heart that goes on it, and it's so stinking cute. And I can imagine lots of ways to use that on other cards for other purposes. We have a wreath. There are 6 little berries that go on the wreath. It's really quick and easy. So there's a separate die for the big sort of light strands, a separate die to cut the big and small bulbs for the tree, and a separate die to cut the heart for the envelope, and then the berries for the wreath. So you'll know which one goes with which thing. And then we have a candy cane. I had one random piece, that gold piece next to the candy cane. I was like, what is that? It's the trunk of the tree. So I recut it out of brown, and that is all of our pieces. Think of all the different kinds of cards you could make with those. But here, I have an arch. I showed you better pressing this arch, but then I hot foiled it again after that because it's just shinier. It's shinier and I love it. And I did it on some sort of white shimmer cardstock. I use this all the time, and I'll put that onto a larger red arch. This is actually from the Perfect Touch arches. It's got some really great sort of piercing detail around the edges, but it doesn't show up super well on camera. You could just use a regular arch instead. I put a second one behind it because this is going to be the pop-up for our easel, and I want it to be nice and sturdy. There is one other die I really haven't shown you, and it is like a little platform that goes on top of this bug to hold all the stiff. So I added a little glue, and I'm going to put my car onto the center of my arch first. And from there, I have a vague arrangement. And actually the one that's on, do you guys use the craft stacks? It's on my craft stack. I have, oh gosh, probably 20 of each size. They're all full all the time. I don't know how I would function without them because they're big enough to hold an A2 card or a half a sheet of paper or a standard like set of dies. And I can stack them up and I can sort of label them and be like, hey, these are all the pieces for the Trinity cards that I'm working on right now. And these are all the pieces for the emergency card kit I'm working on. And this is for my holiday rewind kit. And it just keeps me super, super organized because I can't work on one thing at a time, right? Like I don't know how to do that. So as I'm arranging things, you can see here, it looked nice and tidy. And I was like, nope, that is not how my family rolls. So I'm like turning one of the presents sideways and I'm moving the strands of lights around. I'm going to end up putting that envelope over the bottom of that pink gift. That's the one where the bow wasn't quite long enough. But honestly, you could sort of trim off the bow part of that piece of the die and then just do a separate light blue strip that goes clear from top to bottom that's a little bit bigger, and that would work too. I'm starting kind of from the back. I thought about using my sticky mat to try to pick everything up, glue it, and put it back down, but there's too much overlap. So I'm taking pieces here and there, things where I think it'll be pretty sturdy as I pick them up and put them down. I'm not going to show you the whole thing, but I wanted to give you a flavor of what this process looks like for me. It depends on the card every single time. I rarely do the exact same thing, and when I have a plan, it often goes awry. But I didn't have to take anything apart for either of these cards, and it's been a minute since I managed that. I did put my candy cane in my stocking. I think you could make a wonderfully tacky tree by hanging those slightly wonky candy canes all over it. But this is the last piece. I've got it all glued down on top of my car, all the pieces on one card. This is not a card I'm going to make a lot, right? That's a lot of die cutting, but it is a really special card that I will save for someone I know isn't going to throw it away, that I know will appreciate it. So I have a top folding card base that I scored an extra time in the middle at 2 3/4. It's going to be an easel card again. And then I didn't want to add 2 layers of pattern paper, right? That is just not going to go super well. So instead, I'm taking a silver acrylic marker. This is from Ohuhu. The pack is pretty big, and I am just markering around the edges. So it's going to kind of look like I have a layer of silver cardstock back there, and then I'll put a piece of pattern paper on top, kind of like we did with the last card. When I get to that fold in the middle, the 2 3/4 inch fold, I'm being careful to sort of bend the card and go up against that score line from both directions. Otherwise, when you fold the card, some blue peeks through. Then I just, again, have some pattern paper that I've been hoarding in my stash for years. I'm pretty sure this is like retired Stampin' Up! That probably has been out of print for 10 years. It's just a nice scripty background. We're covering up most of it, but I loved that bright blue on there. In fact, I don't even think Stampin' Up! Has that color of anything. anymore. You guys, if you started in Stampin' Up, if that was your introduction to card making, let me know. If you've heard me talk about how I started, which I do every time somebody interviews me because they always ask, my friend Penny, my Stampin' Up dealer, found me at a craft fair and was like, you look like you like to stamp on things. And that was over 15 years ago. And I have been making cards, you know, on and off ever since. So when I go to add my arches, I'm adding glue only onto the bottom. And then that part of the arch has to go below that 2 3/4 inch score line, right? When I added that pattern paper, it was in 2 pieces to make sure it's going to continue to fold really nicely. So here is our card almost done. All we need to do is add a sentiment, and I cut out a few extras when I was making the first card. Again, I am just stacking them up one extra time. If I give them a little bit of weight here, I think it just makes them look a little more intentional. They're 1/4 inch strips, and I'm putting them on a 3/8 inch strip of red cardstock. I line up the top, bottom, and left, and then I just sort of trim off little slivers until the right-hand margin looks the same. I have 1 strip, and I'll just use either side for my 2 sentiments, my outside and my inside. I did pull this one from the Sassy sentiments, but certainly you could do a sweet sentiment. This one says, may your holiday breakdown be filled with joy. I don't know about you, but I am tremendously lucky to have a ton of family nearby. My husband's family, my family, there's almost 20 of us. And so it's a big crowd for holidays. My in-laws go to my parents for Christmas, for Thanksgiving, for those sorts of things. And it is wonderful, but it is a lot. And especially in the fall, both my kids have birthdays. We've got Thanksgiving and Halloween, and oh my gosh, I think the whole family, there's like 5 or 6 birthdays. It's nuts. So this sentiment really speaks to me. The car full of like stuff that we're schlepping from house to house to house to house, week after week after week. It feels really familiar. Let me know how it goes for you around the holidays. But my friends, that is card number 2 complete. I did the big scene, but you could use all these pieces individually. I hope you love this. I hope you'll give an easel card a try. I have links to both the Sweet and Religious Holiday Kit and the Sassy and Bulk Holiday Kits in the description box below. All I ask is that you subscribe to my channel. And then there are links over into the posts in Patreon for the upgraded kits with the free bonus pages and any of the paid pages if you're a paid Patreon member. Come back next Friday and I will have another holiday kit for you. I am so excited. Thank you all so much for spending your time with me, and I will see you next time.